really has been kind of a quiet month, so we did get some information on, what do they call it here? It came from the MPCA at the beginning of the month, and it's the wastewater annual compliance summary. It just kind of is a breakdown of, you know, who we are, what we are, and who's all on there. And of course, our old operator is still listed as an operator. And actually, Jay Shockness is still on there too. So I reached out to Terry, and Terry and I reached out to Lou, and it sounds like we should be able to get that corrected, right? Based on an email.
Last I've heard, I haven't heard any different from Lou, so.
Okay, all right, so she was our representative, Terry, who's been working with on to get all the compliance stuff sorted out. And it sounds like she connected with the right person, so maybe I'll follow up with the email just to see if we did get it corrected and get the new information, and then once I do get that, I'll provide that, and we can keep record of it. It's basically a breakdown of who we are, what we are, you know, what our limitations are, so on and so forth. So it's just kind of a yearly summarization of what's going on. So my goal is to get that corrected. I think we hit this for the last three and asked that question and hit nothing. I know Terry's tried to correct it a couple times also, but it looks like Lou's on it, so I'll follow up with that.
And then I talked to Kira from MPCA, that's just, she's been coming up a lot, and it sounds like they've got a new permit right now. They've got several new ones, so I think it's back on track to get done within a couple of years.
Well, like you say, we're good with the way the permit is written right now,
Yeah.
because I think if they rewrite a permit, they're gonna be putting more regulations on us, and that's when, you know, I think.
Yeah, I think the only thing to start off is phosphorus. Otherwise, other ones have been good, and everything else.
Phosphorus has been higher now.
That's been the same. It's been, you know, a few points either way, but.
Okay. I did send you some information about sulfate. I think I don't know if there's gonna be some new compliances on that, but there's a webinar coming up this week. I put it on my calendar to listen to it on Wednesday. So I'll try to listen to that webinar and see exactly what direction that was. So actually it's sulfite. It's a sulfate multi-discharge variance, permittee license assessment invitation. So the MPCA is developing a time-limited sulfate multi-discharge variance. So it's public information on what that is. So I'll take a listen to that and take some notes, and I'll bring a report back on that. I would imagine that would be something that would be written into a new permit also.
Now, I'll try to listen on to it back for today on my phone to report
Okay.
for Friday, so.
All right, sounds good. Other than that, there has been some movement and information back and forth on the expansion, but I'll let Dean fill you guys in on that. There's a big Zoom meeting tomorrow, and I'll let Dean fill you guys in on that. Well, that's my update. Let's move on to the financial update.
All right, current checking account balance as of today was $118,850.55. Our investment fund balance was $222,486.78. And our cash value balance was $30,709.41. For bills, we had East Central Energy of $188.67, LJJ of $1,700, MTVL, which is the Minnesota testing that Terry uses, that vendor for testing our samples, our water samples, of $126.75. We have an invoice from the MPCA for $345 for our annual water permit fee. And then Chisago County, I have $854 for our property taxes, and that's for the entire year. But I figured that it was easier just to do it all at one time versus approving the rest of it in September. So
Where does that fit within our budget for property taxes?
let me look. I can look that up and get back to you. But that's it for bills though, and I'll pass those down for review.
Curiosity, what's the MPC water permit for 3.5?
I don't know. Let's see here.
Annual water permit fees.
Yeah, that's all it says. Water permit annual fees.
We'll let you look at that bill.
I'm curious, I mean, it's probably for the wells, but usually that's January, February when that's done, because I have a DNR permit that I do with the wells I take care of, but it's not near, it's not close to that. It's usually about $120.
And it's, the invoice date is 4/8, so it's not like it's, I mean, we just got it. It just says wastewater general annual permit fee.
Oh, then that's what it is, for district.
Okay,
Okay, yeah,
so,
It seemed reasonable.
damn cheap. Oh.
All right, I guess I'm looking for a motion to approve the bills.
First motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, Dean, you're up. What do we know about the expansion and where we're sitting right now?
No, it's just a second.
Where we're sitting right now is we have a Zoom meeting tomorrow scheduled with a new EPA specialist that we're going to be working with. And Chris Ziegler is supposedly also hopefully getting some updates, but I won't know that until we get to the meeting tomorrow. And then we do have the end of the state legislature within a few weeks. And then that should tell us if we get $600,000 we're asking for. And then at that point, we hopefully would know where we're at with the 1.5 million if we run through all of the requirements or not. So I'm thinking June might be a good time to start thinking how we're going to proceed. If we need to have a neighborhood meeting, do we need to have a vote for going ahead further? Or
Okay, I
I'm
guess,
just asking.
yeah, I think at this point, when you say the EPA, EPA is who's providing that 80% grant. So
That's correct.
that's a pretty good indication that it's still alive and it's on the table. Based on the meeting tomorrow, I think there were just still a couple things that we needed to complete in the process of receiving that grant. And I think Chris was working on that. Again, I'll just touch base. We did receive general information from HR Green on what they think the costs are going to go and what it's going to take. With that information, I think in June is when we'll start to develop a more working budget to decide on how the monies would be dispersed if we started to move forward. If, the up to 1.9 is enough to cover everything, regardless, it's 80% of whatever it is. I mean, all the numbers that came back from HR Green is below that 1.9 right now. So basically, I think just for the engineering costs and the construction, I think it was roughly right around 1.5, 1.4, 1.5. There'll be some additional things on there for legal, that we'd have to add on, but I think we have enough information to start with a good budget and try to piece it together.
So looks that way,
Yeah. So that's kind of where it's sitting on the expansion. More to come. All right, channel updates.
Say, Dean, if anything gets approved at the legislative meeting, let me know. I can put it on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be good information. We did get some kickback from one of the senators. There was something that showed our name and something they were talking about. I know there was an
Yeah,
email.
Becky's kind of going back and forth with that and trying to get a handle on where we're at with it. It all comes down to the bonding bill and if we're included in that or not.
Yeah,
So-
Yep.
And that's
exactly.
usually like the last day of the
The
legislation.
session. Let's hope they don't have to go to standing session.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on expansion? I think, my general wrap-up is this is the closest and the best information we've ever had on the whole process over the last 6 6, 7, 8 years, so we'll keep going down that road. Channel update. Sue, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. No. I met with Craig Wills from the DNR 2 weeks ago Monday. And we went through final steps that needed to be done to submit the permits. I had to have a updated detailed plan from Tony at Waterworks, who's going to be the dredger. So we got the plan updated, and I had to supply a survey of the area with the water depths, which we used that one that Jethro did when we were going to do like mechanical dredging. And I had to submit a map of the area of the 2 acres. So I took that over to him last Friday, and he is going to pass that, get that routed around to all the departments. And I told him we had a September 15th start date about, and that should give us enough time to see if they approve.
Okay, so
And what helped with that is in January, Al, you were there, we went to the DNR, and Tony from Waterworks did a visual of the plan he was going to do, showed how it works, and there were other departments from the DNR there, so I'm hoping that's very helpful as they wrote this, that they've been involved in the gist of it from that meeting. So it's another hurry up and wait, and in the meantime, we'll have a little meeting with the channel folks again and update to see who's gonna hold the hose and things like that. And I did contact Dane Woods, and I wanted to alert him what was going to happen with that 2 acres and kind of detailed what we were going to do to contain that muck.
okay.
So, and then, he thanked me and asked when it was going to be done, and so we'll, I just want to make sure that.
No, that's good. I appreciate you doing that. That's being very neighborly. As far as that 2 acre lots, I just want to let everybody know that one of the residents went up there with a bush whacker and knocked that down and brought it down to a nice clean level.
Mm-hmm.
He volunteered to do that, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that was Scott, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't know Scott's last name, but
I thanked him too,
That was-
sent him a message.
okay, very
Yeah.
good. We did appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds like that's moving in the right direction. Old business, and it's the lawn service and spring cleanup. We'll start with, we did get a price back, Matt, on the spring cleanup, correct?
Yes. Shoot, I can't remember what it is now. It was something like $700 to just pick up, or what was it? I can't remember.
Well, there was a couple options.
Yeah, there were a few options.
So the biggest option, I think, was come in and clean up all the leaves and haul them away. The other option was pick up the leaves and put them on the pile. And the other option was just mulch everything down and knock it down and clean it up while they're mowing at this particular point in time. He suggested at this point that's probably the best. As far as picking up sticks, I think the email basically said we'll take the sticks and bring them to the pile before he comes in and does his first mow. And I think you shot out the text and we kind of all approved that we're not going to pay for cleanup this year. We'll concentrate maybe a little bit more towards the end of the year, maybe have them come in for a mulching instead of cleaning them up. I know some of the residents were asking. So I think that's kind of where we sat with it, correct?
Yeah, he did suggest that we do an extra mow or two
Yep.
at the end of the season to
Yes.
just mulch the leaves. So we'll do that every year now, starting now,
Yeah.
just to get the leaves
cleaned up and we don't have all blowing around. I think that's
Right.
a pretty good compromise.
And as far as paying them to clean up the park, I was in the park, I haven't seen the whole park, but the 3/4 that I've been in, there are hardly any twigs to worry about or any kind of,
I think people have been picking them up and bringing them over. Buck and
Yeah.
Andrew really do a pretty good job of
Yeah.
policing the park, and I appreciate that too. And I'll continue on the burning stuff. They've done a good job again this year on that.
yeah, Andy already did the burn, so.
Yeah. So as far as the lawn service, we've approved the contract. They got the information. Do we know when they're gonna come in for the first mow here?
They should start now, I mean, any day.
Did we get updated certificate of insurance? Did anybody ask for that for this year?
I have not yet, but I can.
Yeah, let's reach out to them, make sure we got an updated COI for 2025. And then we need, when you reach out to them, what's the gate combo over at the ponds? Because he's gonna need that.
8100.
8100, so we'll have to let him know what that is.
Okay.
So I'll delete that.
Yeah, that's crazy, I guess I can.
It's all right, I can delete it.
Yeah, delete that. You should probably let him know too.
Okay.
After the snow melted, I did find the key for the old bike.
Oh, you did?
In the driveway.
You did find it?
Yeah, it was laying in the driveway.
Yeah. Well, you can always put that in the old box too, for backup.
Yeah.
All right. Sometimes I don't smart myself. All right, let's move on to new business. Let's start with the roads first before, and then we'll finish up with the Rush Lake Estates and that approval. Al has worked on the roads and has got a plan put together for our yearly group repair the roads.
I talked with Darren and Cole both with the Premier, and Darren and I went out last week and found some places where I'm all patched up. The lower circle is going to be about 3/4 of the way done. It's going to look really nice. And then over on the east side of the lake, lake frontage, down by the Y there, we'll be getting some more done down there. A little bit done up on the top circle where it Y's off down there. If we hit our budget, he actually gave us a pretty good price. He took some money off to get this, get it all done that I want to be done. Road restrictions just went off today, and I asked him if we were on the schedule. I called Darren today and said, we are on the schedule. We'll be one of the first 2 jobs done now that road restrictions are done. So they're not going to do it over the Memorial weekend and screw everybody up. It'll be done after that, so the way it looks. So if you got any questions, give me a call. If you got problems that I missed, give me a call or let one of the board members know, and I'm going to take care of it.
I guess I'll, just based on what we talked about too, we'll have to get just a written proposal.
Yep.
And then we'll have to reach out to them for an updated certificate of insurance too before they start work.
Okay.
Thanks, Al.
Well,
Yep, thanks for taking that on. Rush Lake Estates. So in the past, we were talking with Jim Ertz and making sure that we can provide them with an alternative plan to provide sewer hookups. And Terry has been working with them on the design and came up with a practical design to hook up in our existing system. This will give them a means to hook up. They can hook up sooner or later, depending on what's going on with the expansion. But what we'll be doing is looking for approval here tonight, just for record to, let them hook up to our system as per this plan. Terry did pass out a letter that was put together by Jim Ertz and the expansion people. I'll just read it briefly real quick, and it lays out pretty much everything that we talked about. I do want to add some verbiage on the end just to make sure we cover it, but it sounds like Terry with LLJ and Jones is hired to do this work and provide the hookups for those properties. So I'll just read this and then we'll look for approval to move on with it. As you know, we've been dealing with the sewer expansion for some time. To date, lot number 1 on Rush Lake Estates, the northernmost lot, has a house built on it, a new home, connected to the existing system at Rushway via a tank and a force main system. So they're hooked up already. We met with Terry Peterson of Jones Construction to determine that lots 2 and 3 will be able to connect to the existing system at Rushway using the same means as lot 1. Lot 4, Rush Lake Estates, and lot 1 of Lois Acres, the southernmost lots, will be able to connect directly to the manhole at Rushway, most likely by gravity flow, depending on the structure the owner plans to build. Terry has included a drawing, the design and the plans that, we'll move forward with. It is understood that the district will allow the above connection based on the drawings provided by Jones. It is also understood that the homeowner is responsible for the connection and maintenance of the lines up to the manhole at Rushway. So basically, all this infrastructure is really considered a main drain coming off each of the houses, similar to the way that all the residents work now. So it's their sole responsibility to maintain that. Okay, the homeowners will be responsible for paying the district the current SAC connection fee and agreeing to pay the monthly sanitary sewer charges. If and when the expansion project is completed, lots 1, 2, and 3 of Rush Lake Estates will have the option to abandon their existing connection and reconnect directly to the expansion system, should they decide to do so. This is on the cost of the homeowners. So if they want to make that connection to minimize all the infrastructure that's there, that's up to them. No additional connection fees will be required, as they would have already paid the one-time SAC charge. And I agree with that. They paid the SAC, they already paid that charge. I just want to add a couple things onto the letter, just for clarification, in case this gets dragged out years down the line, and I just want to make sure that we have it documented. I want to add to this letter, if we can, homeowners must contact the Shorewood Park Sanitary District at least 30 days prior to any connection to the system. At the time of contact, the board will review the individual's plans for verification. Information will be provided to that homeowner on how to pay the fees and monthly charges at that time. That's just in case it gets farther down the line. I think there was one other note I'd like to add. An inspection of the connection to the Rushway manhole, the structure must be completed by the Shorewood Park Sanitary District operator at the time of the connection. And of course, Terry, if you're making all those connections, we've got that covered already, right? SAC charges must be paid prior to the final connections.
Yeah, what you guys SAC charge again?
It's only $2,500. That's another meeting.
People don't balk at ours for getting one, it's 8,400.
All right, I guess I'm gonna ask for a motion to accept this letter based on the corrections that I'd like to make. So I'm gonna look for a motion to accept this plan for the alternative hookup of Rush Lake Estates.
Make a motion to accept the plans.
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Does this letter go back to Jim Ertz with this extra,
With the corrections, yes.
and then we
Well,
have to, or we can do it now?
I think-
without him?
I don't know, I think he's gonna be fine with it.
Okay.
I mean, if he wants to balk on it, then we'll make those corrections. Do you see an issue with that, Matthew, at all?
I just think that we've never done it preemptively in the past. I think it's probably just best practice if we send the corrections back, have them add them to their letter, and then have them send the letter back to us for next month.
Okay, that sounds fair.
As long as there's no rush.
I don't think anybody's gonna be jumping into it right now either.
We're gonna start in 2 weeks.
Were you?
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
He
I'll
wants to get it done because that's the hindrance has been selling lots. And
Right.
I said, after you guys decide, then it's just a matter of us to get the material ordered and go.
Okay. Well, then, I guess I don't have a problem with it as long as as long as the wordage is exactly how you just read it on the recording,
Yep.
as long as it's word for word verbatim, then I can agree to it.
Okay, I think that's fair. I don't think we're putting any more extra means, or it's just more clarification
Yeah.
of the letter.
And at that point, as soon as somebody does buy them, and they say, okay, we're gonna need sewer, it's gonna be 60, 80, 90, 120 days till
Right.
they begin to think about using it, so.
Right. All right, so I guess I'm gonna reboot here, and I guess I'm looking for a motion to accept the plans as per our conversation and verbiage.
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, then that motion carries.
I got one more thing on the roads. The speed limit. People need to address the speed limit in the park. We had a near tragedy here not too long ago, just as 4 or 5 days ago. People speeding through the park. I went down and addressed it. And there's still more people. I had to address another one yesterday. And then last night, I'm out in the driveway, and there was a vehicle that was going at least 35 miles an hour through the park. If I find this individual again, I am going to address that person also. I'm going to keep addressing it until people slow the heck down. Somebody is going to get hurt or killed if you don't knock it off.
They were driving through the grass in the park?
No, on the
Oh,
on the
okay.
roads.
I just want to be clear.
I mean, we've all witnessed the speeders going through, and sometimes, we lose track of what's going on, but it's been pretty egregious, and Al has been taking it on himself to police it, and I appreciate that. It's that time of the year when the little kids and the dogs and the walkers are all over, so again, I maybe we highlight it and post it, and then, maybe a sign on our, I don't know, is there something we can put in the bills? We really need to, people that are coming to visit us, we should just please let them know, please abide by the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. The roads aren't made to go 30 miles an hour, and they're small, and there are little kids, and we got grandkids, and the family, the kids that are playing on the road and around that area, I want them to be able to do that, right? And use the park and cross over the park, and we want to be confident that we can let our kids, use the park. So I would hate to see something happen too. So, are there means that we can do to control it? We've talked about speed bumps in the past, but that really is an issue for plowing.
I actually have a comment that I want to make about that.
Yeah,
I know that removable speed bumps exist.
that's exactly where I was gonna go with
Okay,
it.
okay.
Matthew.
So I was
So,
wondering the same.
I'm totally for that.
I mean, if we can have somebody do some research on some removable speed bumps, I'm willing to start to entertain that.
All right.
I think that's probably a good idea. It's just a matter of looking them up and see, it's something that we can put down after snowfall is done, and pull them up right before.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably a good solution. I appreciate you bringing that up.
It's not just you guys' issue, it's everybody's issue.
Yeah,
Well, our heaviest traveled road has our 2 RV parks on it in Pecos Township. And the people are constantly complaining about speeders on the road. Well, it's weekend people and stuff. But we put signs up and everything else, and the road gets rough because there's so much traffic on it. And that's probably the highest maintenance we use on this road. And as soon as we get it flat, the ones that are bitching the most are the ones that are speeding.
yeah.
Multiple times we've had to chase them in the yard. So you're the ones that are bitching about people speeding?
Yeah.
Right.
We're in a hurry. Everybody's in a hurry. So we don't put signs up anymore because people can't read, so.
Yeah. I think the solution is some sort of a speed bump for sure.
Yeah.
Try to maintain it.
We got something right on our, it's not, long story short, it's not the people that live here that are typically the issue.
Yeah.
It's the friends that come in, I know a couple other people that have chased after folks and addressed in their own way, and people just aren't listening, and they don't care. The bottom line is that they don't care. It's really sad, but I think the removable speed bumps is the way to go.
Good plan. Let's see what we can do for that.
I'll check in with that.
I have one thing to add. So the upper circle, Shorewood Circle, has their own water system. And there's been some work done over the last 12 months or so to try to get this system updated, and the water board is kind of looking for a way to get the message out. And I know that we've done things like, address the channel dredging, which doesn't affect everybody, and et cetera, et cetera. I was just wondering if we would be able to post water information on our website in some way.
Do you have I have no problem with that at all. I mean,
Okay.
They can use us as an avenue to get the information out. I don't think that's a bad idea. People know who's on and who it affects. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
And
and so,
update for updating.
yeah, and I have yet to create a channel dredging page, and just because plainly I just haven't been asked to do that, and I'm happy to do that, but I was thinking of just adding another page just for the water.
I'm okay with it.
What do you guys, do we want to vote on that, or?
Because the dredging isn't an ongoing, it's going to be a start
And a finish.
and end.
Okay,
Where the water is a continuous,
yeah,
yeah.
so,
I would say a page would be great.
well, quick vote, I first motion to allow the water board to post information on our website.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Thanks,
carries.
guys.
Yep. Any other new business? All right, with that, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.